How do I choose the books that I read and recommend? I have a bias to self-help, personal development, and educational books. Reason why? I find that fiction has a lesson that they are trying to teach, emotion that they're trying to reveal. Not that that's a bad thing, but you can only tell me so many life lessons in so many different ways, so many different examples, before you just realize this character did this, oh, this person feels this way. It gets not necessarily repetitive, but it's not new. However, think about self-help. I want to learn fitness. I pick up a fitness book. Now I have an educational background of fitness. I'm gonna implement that into my real life. I cannot implement any more feelings of happiness. I know what happiness feels like. I know what's gonna make me happy. On the contrary, I pick up an educational book. Now, one of the things that I'm not the best at is science. So what I try to do is I try to read science books, and I try to break down things that are around me that I have no idea about. Let's say I choose to go personal development. I'm interested in a career. I want to do photography. I want to be a real estate agent. I pick up a book that lists out, this is what photography is. This is the kind of skills that you need to focus on. Real estate, this is what the history of real estate. Here's how real estate works in this state, this country, right? Now, I can actually apply that. It's a skill. I can apply the skill. I just learned a little bit about photography. I just learned a little bit about real estate. I just learned a little bit about finance. I can go apply that. If I'm just reading fiction books, and don't get me wrong, there are good fiction books. I definitely have some good fiction books. But if I only read a fiction book about love, it'll teach me, right? Like, all right, cool, this is how love works. But then I can only ever apply that to a situation, but it's not necessarily gonna make me better other than loving myself and loving the people around me. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is actually a skill that you need, but it's not a skill that's gonna help me personally grow. So my bias is those three categories. I wanna let you know that. Now, have I read books about love? Yes. But I will most likely choose self-help, personal development, or an educational book before I get into anything really fiction, because fiction is left to interpretation. Not necessarily that that is not something that you can't share, but I want to speak about things that are factual. How I choose these books now is whatever sparks my interest. For example, I wanted to become a photographer, but I had no idea what photography was. I picked up a book that actually explained the history of photography and how photographs came to be. Is truly interesting, and I will eventually talk about that. But I choose books that are truly interesting to me, that I feel like are worth sharing. Now, this page is dedicated to the conversations about books, right? And showing how you can implement them into your real life. It's not necessarily that I'm saying these are the only books that you need to read, right? Like I said, there are great fiction books. There are also fiction books that are low-key kind of self-help books, but it's very much what sparks my interest. And from there, it's typically like, okay, I've discovered this new phase of my life that I need to overcome, or this new phase of my life that I'm trying to figure out. Then it goes, all right, let's do some research. This research comes from, like, I know this author mentioned this and they cited it in a book. Or it could be something like, I am looking through social media and this person, you know, they claim to be a person that has an X and X background, and they say they read a book. I do my research on that person, and is this person worth like listening to? All right, cool. Then I'll buy the book. But also, right, I have certain people in my life that know that I like to read. Right, that's like, all right, you know, I know you like this book. Here, happy birthday. Or yeah, I know that you blah blah blah. So you wanted this here. These books they typically come to me, and either I go out and find them, or they are, you know, given to me. So because that's the kind of relationship that I have with some of the folks in my life, right? They know I like to read, they talk to me about books, and if I respect their knowledge, or I respect their character, then I'm like, all right, you know what, let me a recommendation. Those books are all books that have come to me naturally. So I am either naturally interested in it, or someone has recommended it. Eventually, right, like I said, this is a platform that allows for engagement. I do want to get to the point where I select the book from the comments and then dedicate a series, right, to, you know, just that. I don't mind doing something like that, but that's where the book choice is coming from. It's just me, right? Just it is what it is. It's not really all that spectacular, but that's going to be the top 3 categories, and I will definitely have some others, but that's what it's going to be.